To protect his daughter from the cold, he pulled out $2 million from his bag and set it on fire. The person who did this had an income greater than the entire annual sales of McDonald's. This isn't a fictional character. This is the real-life story of Pablo Escobar, one of the richest and most dangerous criminals the world has ever seen. But how did he rise to such power, and why does his name still send chills down spines? Let's dive into the story of the infamous drug lord. Welcome back to Xfinity Evolution. In the late 20th century, Escobar was considered the king of the drug trade. His drug smuggling network made him obscenely rich. Of course, this wealth came at the cost of countless ruined lives, and all his money was earned through illegal means. But even with that, Pablo Escobar managed to amass a staggering $30 billion. At one point, he was the second richest person in the world, behind the Sultan of Brunei. If Escobar were alive today, his fortune would be equivalent to $58 billion, making him the 8th richest person in the world. Pablo Escobar was born in 1949 in a small village in Colombia, growing up in a modest family. His father was a farmer, and his mother was a schoolteacher, but young Pablo had bigger ambitions. From an early age, he showed a knack for making money, starting with petty crimes like selling fake diplomas and stealing tombstones to resell them. As he got older, his criminal activities escalated, and he became involved in smuggling contraband. Escobar's hunger for wealth and power eventually led him to the illegal drug trade, setting the stage for his rise as one of the most notorious figures in history. Pablo Escobar's rise to power began with small-time criminal activities before he plunged into the lucrative cocaine trade. By the late 1970s, he had founded the Medellín Cartel, quickly becoming one of the wealthiest and most feared drug lords in history. His ability to dominate the cocaine market through strategic alliances and ruthless tactics led to a lavish lifestyle filled with immense wealth, while his violent reputation ensured his control over the international drug trade. Pablo Escobar's drug supply network was so powerful that it supplied 90% of the cocaine used in the United States, and 80% of the world's supply. This dangerous supply chain was run from an island that Escobar owned, and this island had an entire airport built on it. Planes filled with cocaine would stop there under the pretense of refueling, during which smaller planes would be loaded with drugs and sent off to the US. This wasn't just a weekly or monthly operation, it happened 5 to 6 times a day. On average, Escobar sent 15,000 kilograms of cocaine to the US every day, amounting to a yearly supply of 540,000 kilograms. At the time, a kilogram of cocaine in the US was worth $70,000, meaning Escobar earned $37.8 billion annually from selling cocaine in America alone. And this went on for 16 years. Experts believe that although Escobar sold cocaine for $70,000 per kilogram, it only cost him $5,000 per kilogram to produce. He paid his pilots $500,000 for a single flight, and even after paying bribes, Escobar still earned $60 million a day. That totaled $22 billion annually. To put this into perspective, McDonald's global sales for the year 2019 were $21 billion, and Escobar's single-year profits in 1981 were higher than that. Naturally, with all this money, Escobar didn't store it in banks. Instead, he kept the cash hidden in massive warehouses on his island, where the money was stored in drums. Around 10% of the stored money was lost annually, either eaten by rats or ruined by water. It's said that Escobar had so much money that he couldn't count it anymore, so he began weighing it to estimate his wealth. Pablo Escobar's rise to power wasn't just about controlling the drug trade. He also harbored political ambitions. In the early 1980s, he entered Colombian politics, seeking to gain influence and legitimacy. He even won a seat as an alternate member of the Colombian Congress. However, his political aspirations quickly drew attention to his criminal empire, leading to tension with the government. To maintain control and protect his interests, Escobar resorted to extreme violence, orchestrating assassinations, bombings, and kidnappings. His reign of terror left a trail of bloodshed, claiming the lives of thousands, including judges, politicians, and police officers. Pablo Escobar's war with the Colombian government escalated into one of the bloodiest chapters in the country's history. As the government, backed by the U.S., intensified its efforts to bring Escobar to justice, he responded with ruthless violence. Escobar declared all-out war, ordering bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings of high-ranking officials, journalists, and even civilians. His Medellín Cartel unleashed chaos, killing anyone who stood in their way. In retaliation, the government launched Operation Search Block, a special task force to hunt him down. The war turned Colombia into a battleground, leaving a legacy of fear and destruction in its wake. At one point, while hiding from the police in the mountains of Medellín with his children, his daughter felt cold. With no other way to generate heat, Escobar pulled $2 million in cash from his bag and set it on fire to keep her warm. Yes, he burned $2 million just like that. This story was revealed by his son in a media interview after Escobar's death. And as is the case with such a lifestyle, it comes at a cost. In 1993, Pablo Escobar was killed in a police shootout. His story has since become a legendary example that no matter how rich a person becomes, they must eventually leave all their wealth behind. Pablo Escobar's life was a tale of power, wealth, and violence that left an indelible mark on Colombia and the world. While he rose from humble beginnings to become one of the richest men on the planet, his empire was built on crime, fear, and destruction. Ultimately, his reign came to a brutal end, but his legacy as the King of Cocaine continues to fascinate and serve as a reminder of the devastating impact of the drug trade. His story remains a cautionary tale of how unchecked ambition can lead to both unprecedented wealth and unparalleled chaos. If you found Pablo Escobar's story intriguing, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating content. See you next time.